Ken Wregget on the show. Joe Tilley's Great Canadian Sports Show. Coming up! Welcome to the program. Today's guest was born in Brandon, Manitoba. He grew up in Brandon and Cold Lake, Alberta. He played junior for the Lethbridge Broncos, was named the top goaltender in the WHL. He played for Canada, the 1984 World Junior Championships. He was drafted by the Maple Leafs, 45th overall in 1982. He played 17 NHL seasons with the Leafs, Flyers, Penguins, Flames, and Red Wings. He won the Stanley Cup with the Penguins in 1992. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the program, Ken Wregget. Ken, so good to see you, my friend. It's been a long time.
See you, and I like reaching out, saying hi, and then we're able to do this. Thank you very much. Good to get back.
Yeah, it's good to see you. I want to go back to the beginning. What made you, in the first place, decide that you wanted to be a goalie?
I think it made, it was a little bit of that youngest kid on the block type of thing where they throw you in net. But ultimately it was, we were coming back from we're living in Greenwood, Nova Scotia. My dad was in the military, the Air Force, and we were living out there, and we went to I'm pretty sure it was a Bruce Lee movie. And it was Sunday afternoon, and as we were leaving the movie theater, we walked by the rec center, and there was equipment swap going on. And I saw these old they weren't old at that point, but CCM leather skate size 6. And I went back and told my dad, I said, Dad, I think I want to play goalie this year. He kind of thought I was a little bit insane because I was the captain of our team and I was scoring goals, and I was doing pretty good as a defenseman at that point. But he didn't talk me out of it. I was surprised looking back. And so that's how it all started for me. I just found this pair of goalie skates I thought looked cool, and I wanted to be a goalie. And that was it. My dad let me. So here we are.
Well, goalies are a strange breed anyway. I mean, I don't know what prompts the guy to want to have guys hitting 100 mile an hour slap shots at him, but that's just the way it goes. What particular, I know you give it a try and you liked it, but what was there anything specific about the goaltending gig that you thought this really works for me?
I probably was like one of those kids. I thought the goalie pads were cool and the glove saves and the whole 9 yards. And it just felt like it was a thing to do. And I played again, being a goalie or being younger on the street. My brother would throw me in the net, and I enjoyed it. I didn't complain about it. So I maybe had a bit of a knack and a desire way back then. The skates came along, and I think that was the thing that made it a solid deal.
Well, it gave you a chance to play right with the bigger kids, and that was fun, I'm sure. So you played most of your minor hockey in Cold Lake, is that right?
Good portion growing up in Greenwood, Nova Scotia. I think I would give my accolades out in that direction. I had we played for the Greenwood Bombers on the Air Force Base. And I had great support through the years there, and that's with the coaches. Donnie Hislop was helping out, Wayne McPherson, our general manager, Al Pickering, Dave Dill, and of course my father, who started off when I did turn to goaltending. But we went out and we played a lot of tournaments. We were a pretty good team. We played some of the New England teams, and we did well. We won the Maritimes there. And if I'm not mistaken, got to go through my old programs from those days, but I think I played against Wendell Young, who I played with here, as well against Al McGinnis. I think he was in Halifax, if I'm not mistaken. But that was where the hockey really solidified itself for me. And then I started every second year I'd play up. My brother's a year and a half older, and I'd play up, and he was the captain of the team, and so my dad did get a little bit of a break driving around from rank to rank because we both played the same team every second year. And then at some point, little past mid-70s, Dad got transferred to Cold Lake, Alberta. And we were at Cold Lake, then off to Greenwood, then back to Cold Lake. And then from there went and played Bantam, Midget, Bantam Midget, and then Junior B, and then went to the Lethbridge Broncos after that. I was actually drafted, not drafted, but scouted by Gary Sutter, who's the oldest Sutter brother that didn't play. He was a Wainwright or Vegreville, and he's the guy that got me down to Lethbridge for the Lethbridge Broncos, and knew the story from there.
Well, I know the Sutters had a great connection with the Broncos. I think maybe they all played there one time, most of them anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you go from the East Coast and, facing, do you remember Al McInnes' shot back then? Was it anything near what it was when he got to the NHL?
I just remember this one tournament game. It was in the final championship game, and I'm down on my knees, and the puck goes back to the defenseman. He shoots it, and I didn't have any choice. I kind of went up and caught her on my kind of collarbone type of thing, and then it hit the crossbar and went out to try to save the game, and it worked. But I'm pretty sure that was him, and it was a pretty hard shot. But he was a good player even back then, definitely.
Well, I want to talk about that Lethbridge Broncos team, because actually you and I go way back. I was working at Lethbridge at the time for CFCN Lethbridge, and you guys made it to the Memorial Cup. But what a team. Mark Tenorti, Bob Rouse, Ronnie and Richie Sutter, Gerald Diduck. Tell us about that Broncos team, and what was it like to play for Chappie, who was the coach back then?
Yeah, that was it. It was something else in itself. Like I had played Junior B, and I was on Brendan Weeking's protective list, and they traded me to Lethbridge, and that's because they had Ron Hextall at the time, and Ron Hextall was a hometown guy. He was born in Brandon. I know I was too, but I didn't live there. And then, like I said, I went back, and my dad, I guess when I was 14, 15, he sent me to Dunk McCollum's hockey school. I worked on my cousin's farm, Stan Rampton, out in Oak Lake, Manitoba, for the summer. And the goal there was obviously for me, anyways, to make some money, because I knew he was turned 16. They wanted to get money for a car, and they needed the farm help. And from there, after the end of the summer, I went to Dunk McCollum's hockey school. And I think the Brandon Wheat Kings won the Memorial Cup the year before that, if I'm not mistaken. So I made it from hockey camp to rookie camp, and that was the goal. And then from there, I made main camp the following year. And then when it was time for me to make that step, I was playing Junior B out in Cold Lake for the Grand Center Cold Lake Oilers, sponsored by Esso. And that's where Gary Sutter, we told Chappie about it, because, like you said, all the Sutters came up through Red Deer and Lethbridge pretty much. And that's how I got out there, and they gave me an off-season trade type of thing, or race swap to Lethbridge, and that's how I got going out in Lethbridge. And so with that, we had Ronnie and Richie Sutter. I think the first year, Brant Sutter was there for half the year before he went down to the Islanders. Troy Loney, he was our number one line. Sutter Loney. Troy's a good friend. I've 40 years. He lives up north here, and I live in Pittsburgh, and it's good to see him in Africa from time to time. And like you said, Mark, Marty Ruff, Mark Tenorti, right. Gerald Diduck. Man, we had a stacked team, and unfortunately, we didn't win the Memorial Cup, but we did have the opportunity to go to the Memorial Cup the one year. I believe that would have been 81 or 82, in that area or so. Anyways, that's kind of how things got going for me, and I was drafted, like you said, after I believe it was the first year playing for Lethbridge.
Well, I remember that you went to the Memorial Cup, and just an amazing team, like you said, just tons and tons of talent, and that was your team. Now you had to play a Portland Winterhawks team who were able to add a whole bunch of bodies, including Mike Vernon and others, and that wasn't really fair. I mean, for us folks in Lethbridge at the time, we thought, what's with this?
Yeah. Well, yeah. The Portland Winterhawks, they were hosting the Memorial Cup that year. So the Lethbridge Broncos, our team, we won the Western WHL championship. But Portland Winterhawks had a chance to still be in the Memorial Cup because they were the host team. So you got your Quebec team, you got your Ontario League team, you get your Western champion all those three champions. Then you got the host teams there. And as it turns out, the very last game against Portland to win the WHL championship, there's a shot from blue line, simple shot. And I kind of went down in a little bit of a half butterfly to stop it. My ankle popped out of socket or whatever it does and stretched the ligament, so I wasn't able to play in the World Cup. And there was, we with that, because we won, we were supposed to be able to pick up a player, and we wanted to take Mike Vernon up just so Portland couldn't have him, because he was a solid. That's all.
Yeah.
That's all Portland needed was a goaltender, and he was in Calgary with the Wranglers, and as soon as Portland got Vernon, well, that was a lock right there. I don't know, the host team won this Memorial. I don't know if they did win the Memorial Cup at that point, Joe. Maybe you could fill it in. But anyways, that's kind of what happened along those lines. But it was a great experience. We all got to go out there and enjoy hockey. And John Chapman, again, very blessed to have the opportunity to play with him. He was definitely a player's coach. He was very gritty, hardcore, and he'd do anything for you. But on the same side, if you wanted to escape through that wall, you did it. So it was a good experience, a growing experience for all of us back then.
Yeah, you know what? I forgot about you getting that injury, and that's right. You guys wanted to get Vernon, and Portland ended up getting him. But yeah, they eventually won the Memorial Cup. It wasn't that year. It wasn't long after that. So
yeah.
So then you joined the Maple Leafs. You made your debut. I mean, at that particular time, the Leafs weren't a very good team. But how did you feel getting your chance to play for a team like that?
Yeah, I think Toronto wasn't on the at the top half of the spectrum with the standings as that goes. But I always looked at it was an honor to play in the NHL. I mean, that's the bottom line, to have a Toronto Maple Leafs in itself, which is, in my mind, the number one team in Canada. I was always a big fan growing up, and just loved to have that opportunity, especially being drafted by them. And I think the first year I was there, my rookie year, I think we made, it would have been the second year, but we made playoffs with like 52 points or something. So we're definitely up and coming, and we had a lot of good players. I was just looking through, I don't know why, but I was looking through the players, with Gary Lehman, L.A. Frady, the guys we did have, and you wonder why we didn't do a little bit better. I know why it was, because of Boria. I was kind of looking at things with what going back to those years not too long ago. But yeah, it was an honor to play, and especially I said to be drafted by Toronto and the guys we had to break into the league with Toronto. I mean, there was a lot of pressure to win, and that spurred of hockey, and especially part of being a goaltender. Me and Al Bester were both at that point as rookies playing for an NHL team. This pretty. I haven't seen that happen too many times since then, but it was a great experience.
Yeah, it was crazy. You guys coming in as rookies. Now, your NHL debut, 83-84 season, your first game was a 48 save effort against Hartford. You got the win. Then your second start, here you are, 19 years old, facing the Calgary Flames. This is your first home start at Maple Leaf Gardens. And in this game, we have a shot right there. You mentioned Boria, who helped the opposition chances cracking down. There you are in goal. I just want to stop and talk here for a moment about Boria. What do you remember about Salming, the King?
Yeah, he was for a young rookie. He was like the consummate. He was one of my favorites. I remember going to a hockey tournament in Prince Edward Island, and our billet family, Prince Edward Island, and our billet family, out in, I think it was Somerset. The kid had all the Toronto Maple Leafs on his door, and I remember looking at Boria Salming and what an icon he was. He was kind of like a hero, and to have the opportunity to get drafted by Toronto and play with him and listen to him and watch him, and he was just a super guy. And I think there's always a special bond between, more so between defensemen and goaltenders, especially when you have a well-seasoned Hall of Fame defenseman like Boria, and to have the opportunity to work with him, and him helping you out. I always remember the guy coming down on the wing, and Borey would step into him and go to force him to the outside and step into him. If he didn't get him, he would loop around back with a sweep check and then get him that way. And at first it was like, "Oh, what are you doing?" And then all of a sudden it's like, that's his signature move, and he would get them 9 times out of 10. He was an awesome, good player, and just a great teammate. And I'm very, very lucky to have the opportunity to play with him.
It was pretty sad that we lost him recently with that ALS disease, which took him down so fast and so hard. I mean, he was on the show just a year and a half ago, and he looked fantastic. And our producer Vic was talking about how spectacular looked, and my son Tyler too watched the show, and he said he looked so good, and we lost him so fast. It's just a sad thing. Now, that young Leafs team, tell us about playing for Mike Nikolak.
Yeah, Mike Nikolak. That goes back. I think that was the first coach. My rookie season, Mike Nikolak. I think we only had him the 1 year, maybe 2. I can't.
Yeah, I think one. Yeah,
and he was like, everything was like, I was starstruck just being in the league and just having the opportunity to play. And like I said, we weren't doing that well, and it's just, to see Harold Ballard, King Clancy, to see Mike Nikolak, and all those guys back in those days. It just blows your mind to see, what I had the opportunity to play with, and just the stature of the Leafs and the organization, and and everything they mean to Toronto, and the coaches and the players. It just goes on and on and on. The building itself, it's just crazy, to have that opportunity to be part of the Maple Leafs.
So what was it like? Okay, you're in the net. You look over to your left there, and there's the bunker with Pal Hal and King Clancy in there. What was that like when you did that for the first time?
Very intimidating, very, very intimidating. But Harold Ballard, he was a great guy. He'd be on the road trips with us, and going around, and he was a very nice guy. He always stopped and he always said hi to you and talked to you a little bit. But to think of everything he went through, to know somewhat of a history from Harold Ballard, it was just, I don't know. It's kind of, I don't even know how to just put it into words, really, when I look back on it. I mean, that was just, I look at some of the history of the Pittsburgh Penguins here, and its inception back in with the Hornets. I think it was back in 1948 or 70, and you have King Clancy out here helping promote hockey with Pittsburgh, and the Hornets eventually turned into the Pittsburgh Penguins type of thing. So there's a little bit of a connection too, but just seeing how those guys drew the game of hockey. They, from the original 6 to the 12, to move that forward, and to see that, it's just, it's mind blowing. It's mind blowing, really, if you think about what those guys, and have the opportunity to actually, live with them and travel with them and talk to them, experience some of their stories. It was a great thing. Awesome.
Pioneers, no doubt about it. Any stories from Harold that you recall from the plane, or?
No, not so much. Like I said, he was a nice guy. I was a rookie, so I was watching myself pretty closely. I didn't want to create any waves. I was just very polite to him. I loved the opportunity to say hi to him when he had the chance to do that. He didn't get around all that well towards the end. He kind of shuffled around, but he was always there, getting up and off the bus and down to the games and stuff. And it was pretty unique to see.
So yeah, I know. I think you're brought in, and the idea was to bring you in as a backup to Tim Bernhardt, Don Edwards. I think in the beginning, if I'm not mistaken. But then it turned out that you got a chance to play a lot, and here we are. I don't know. There's a great save right there. Beautiful glove save. Look at that, right in close. Whoa, baby, that's a Ken Wregget special right there. Another save that I recall you making is the patented Ken Wregget save. You'd see the puck trickling towards the net. You'd reach back with that stick at the last minute, and after it looked like you were beaten, and that was a common Ken Wregget save as well. So you've got. Eventually, it comes down to you and Alan Besser, as you mentioned earlier, like the two rookies, the two kids. trying to save the day for the Maple Leafs. That seems to me like a lot of pressure on a couple of young goalies. Did you feel it at the time?
I think so. I think in hindsight now, at the time, I didn't see anything wrong. I thought it was awesome because you have two guys that are young coming in and very competitive. You have two different goaltenders too. You have Al, who's more of a not quite as tall, but a fast goaltender, a quick goaltender, great glove, great agility. Then you have a bigger guy, and one of the referees called me a lumberjack on ice because he kept on knocking the net off. And I've only been 6'1", but at that time that was considered a big goaltender, a large goalie. Nowadays are 6'5" and that type of thing. But I think two young guys full of excitement, competitiveness, and wanting to do well. I think we pushed each other quite a bit along the way. I know there's times we'd like to fist fight each other just to get in the net because we were so competitive. And I think that's a healthy atmosphere too when you have two guys that want to do that. Brophy would, John Brophy, who was one of my favorite coaches as well. He would tell the goalie who's playing halfway through warm up, and yeah, and that was kind of uncanny, but in itself that kind of kept you ready for every game in case you get thrown in. So there's a lot of different things like that. And looking back, would have been better to have an older guy to kind of help you along the way with a little help, like a Donnie Edwards, I guess. And that's what Donnie was there for as well. And he did bring some things to calm everything down. And I know Al and I had our ups and downs in the minors there at St. Catharines. So it was a very trying time and trying to get the right things going on the right track for the Leafs back in those era and try to build something in a winner type of thing. And that's all we were trying to do and try to be part of that.
Well, there were a lot of nights where a lot of us thought that you and Al were like ducks in a shooting gallery. I mean, the team was taking a lot of, they were getting hammered pretty good by a lot of those elite teams, and it couldn't have been easy. And it seems to me that perhaps the situation unfolded the way it did, but to me, it was like you guys seemed like you were rushed a little bit too much into the NHL at the time.
That's debatable. There was a lot of controversy over that, whether that would be the case. I think looking back, perhaps. I mean, when you got two young guys like that, and then our team needed to get a little bit stronger up front too, and so it wasn't just the goaltending. I think the goaltending, if we had more of a rounded type of team, a little more depth, I think we would have been just fine. I think, and we had some great players there. I think it was just we were all so young at that time. Russ Courtnall, L.A. Frady, Todd Gill, Jeff Jackson. Then their older nucleus with Brooke Five, Bill DeLego, John Anderson. I think we those guys really settled us down quite a bit to move forward. But then that was also in the era when the Islanders were just firing it up, and you had the Oilers were just on fire, and you had some haves and have-nots at that point too, and it was a different game back then. Where nowadays I think anybody could win, but back then I think one team's supposed to win, so a little different game. Yeah.
Well, those Oilers team were pretty incredible. Those Oilers teams of the '80s, and it really tough to compete with them. And with the idea of being every team wants to win a Stanley Cup, that's the goal, right? But for that young Leafs team, I mean, it seemed to me that you guys were growing together. There was something happening. There seemed to be some kind of what was the downfall, if anything, of that team? Would you say in retrospect?
I don't know if I'd really be able to point that out. I think for us when we made playoffs, and I think we had 52 points, and we went up against Chicago, and then we went on to the next round. And I know we lost out the second round to once was Detroit, and I believe the other time was to St. Louis. The fact that we didn't really have the best of seasons, but we were able to make it to the second round, it says something in itself for the team that we did have. And it was just a matter of getting things together a little more solid, I think, because I think we had a lot of good players. What was his downfall? Why we couldn't really get things together? I don't know. I don't know. I think maybe somewhat, like I said, youth, experience, depth, goaltending. I think we had a nice core nucleus, and that was with our top lines and our top defensemen, and it was a transition into getting those other guys some experience to get them built up the ladder. Maybe hang on them a little longer. I don't know. I don't know. In hindsight, I think the guys, Jerry McNamara and Gordon Selleck, I think they did a great job through the whole thing, and it was just something that I think we all tried as hard as we could, and we all tried to make it as best because he has some really great personalities in there, really heartfelt competitors that wanted to win in the worst way, I would have liked to seen that. I know when I got traded to Philadelphia, I remember leaving the upstairs office with Jerry McNamara after he told me, and it was like the biggest thing I want to do was win the Stanley Cup, is build something in Toronto, and that to this day it hasn't left. I can't wait till they win it.
Yeah, I think a lot of us are in that boat. We can't wait till they win it. But one of the things you'll find about Toronto is that the folks tend to be very impatient, and they've had several general managers and presidents come in and say, "Well, we're going to be patient. We're going to be built. And they have not been patient. But now it seems that they're being pretty patient, and a lot of people seem to have trouble with it. But in order to win, as you know, you need to have a lot of things go right, and you need a little bit of luck as well, right? Yeah.
No, I just say absolutely. It's a combination, like with the chemistry and the luck. And what was the one thing we had in one of our dressing rooms? Was success is at the intersection between hard work and luck.
Yeah.
So that does play a big deal in life.
Yeah, puck lucks. I mean, as a goaltender, you've had a few that hit the post and a few that didn't, right? So it's that little fraction of an inch that could make the difference between the winning and losing. So let's talk about that deal to the Flyers, team that also had Ron Hextall and Dominic Hasek, but you got a chance to play a lot. Matter of fact, you played 51 games one season. Here you are. Nice save inside. There we go. Against the rival Penguins at that time. That was Stevens, wasn't it? Yeah. So, this is 51 games. What was Philly like? Real nice acrobatic save there, by the way.
Yeah, it seemed to be that fallback with the paddle down. It seemed to work. Why would they shoot that above? That's the only thing I could do. I don't know, but it worked. No, Philly was a great place. Ed Snyder was the owner when I was there. Paul Holmgren was coaching. Ronnie Hextall, very, very, and he's a GM here in Pittsburgh. Very, very intense, competitive fella, and to have the opportunity to play with him was something in itself. Mark Howe, Dave Poulin, they had a great team. Timmy Kerr. And they had such a big rivalry over here in Pennsylvania between Pittsburgh and Philadelphia, and I think ultimately I ended up in Philly, and it had to do with, unfortunately, Pelly Lindbergh, with the accident he had. That led to me getting over to Philly, and I know there's a big stink about it when I went to Philadelphia for two first round draft picks. They kind of thought. Why the heck are you doing that? They had Ron Hextall and Pete Peters at that point. So now, Ken Wregget shows up. And then shortly after that, salary disclosure came out. And I think he had, three of the top 5 players on your team were goaltenders. And they were in the highest, some of the highest paid players. So that was back in the restructuring of the NHL with the salary disclosure and various things like that. But Philadelphia, they asked me, in spite of all this rumors, were you going to get traded? And this was back when I was playing for Toronto, and I had mono at the time, and I missed probably a couple of weeks, if not a month at that point. And they said, "Where do you think you'd get traded to, in spite of what everybody's saying?" I said, "They said, where do you not want to go?" And I said, "Philadelphia." And they said, "Why is that?" They said, "Why is that?" And I said, "Well, I've been in the league 5 years now." And I said, "Every time we arrive into Philadelphia at the airport, we go by the shipyards. You see the ship, and you get off the highway and you drive on the way to the Spectrum, which is where the hotel was. And you're under this underpass, and this burnt out car there for 5 years." I said, "It can't be very." And I'm a kid from an Air Force base, so I didn't, I'm pretty sheltered. So I said, "There's been this burnt out car there for 5 years. Can't be a good place." But as I went, there was a great organization. Ed Snyder and Bobby Clark as the GM, Paul Holmgren, great organization. They had a great team in there, and they ran it like champs. And and it was a lot like Toronto, where they're always, they're really diligent on every single thing matters type of thing. Not so much relaxing on the patience type of thing like it was kind of here in Pittsburgh with the team they had here. They won the Cups here back in the early '90s. So it was interesting in itself again.
Well, we have you got into some scuffles here along the way. We got a clip of you having words with Marty McSorley. Let's have a listen back to that incident.
9 seconds. Marty McSorley, Los Angeles, the game is cut up.
That was you standing off to the right there, and what was being said at the time? Do you remember that? I think I might have heard an F-bomb drop there.
Yeah, I don't remember, but I'm taking over that. So many memories came back from that one little clip there, and if you hear and that's at the Spectrum, and you can hear the fans and how intense they are in Philadelphia. That was a crazy, insane fan base in Philadelphia, but I don't quite remember. He probably I don't think he wanted to fight me too bad. So I don't think there was much of a decision on that one. Which I got. If I could jump in, I had another story from Philadelphia, and that was the first game I played there. And so, like I said, I had mono, and I just got off mono. Ron Hextall went down with an injury. There was me and I think it was Mark DeMoore at the time. And we played a game in Boston on Saturday afternoon. I believe I could have that wrong, but Saturday afternoon. I played 2 periods, and I could barely make it through. I was not in very good shape because of getting off a mono. Mm-hmm. So Mark played the rest of that game. Then I came back the next night against Toronto, the team I just got traded from. So I was pretty worried about that game. So in the end of the first period, I think it was 5-0 for Philadelphia, and I was playing. So I thought, well, that's a good start. So we're going to keep it up. So switch periods. Second period, I'm down at the other end, and Toronto ties it up 5-5. Well, and you heard the fans in that last clip, right? You could hear the intensity out there. Yeah. After that 5th goal, I was lining up for the center ice face-off. Someone throws a wax cup of Coke from behind me over top of the glass and hits me perfectly in the head, and the Coke splatters right through the whole crease. And I thought, this is going to be a long time I'm going to play here. They hate me. And that was the first game I played. And then, things went along and I got a little better after that. But very, very, very intense fan base there, no doubt.
No kidding.
One of the best in the league. Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. Good to have them on your side, even when you're not on your side. Apparently, it's tough.
Yeah.
So when you are on the side, so we got another incident here with Claude Lemieux. If we can roll that video, Vic. I want to see what was happening here. Do you remember this particular incident?
That was playoffs. Yeah.
You give him a little bit of a trip. Is that what happened? No. What? Yeah. There we go.
No. Yeah, all I can think of right there is actually, way to go, Regs, way to go. No, that was in warm up, and we're skating around. I used to, skate across the top of the center ice line. He was leaning out a little bit, trying to,
For sure. He's on your side of the ice.
yeah, egg it on a little bit and get the sparks going for the game. And so he came at me with his leg out, and it's a goalie pad, and I was pretty solid on my feet, and I caught him, and he went for a little spin there, and Hexie kind of enjoyed that.
Yeah, Claude, that was Claude Lemieux, typical Claude Lemieux, doing it. Poop disturbing there. How'd that series go? I don't recall. How'd that series go?
I believe that was the series after the Philadelphia or Pittsburgh series when Hexall got injured. And I played the first 3 games, and Hexall was playing in that game. And if I'm not mistaken, that would have been the series when Hexall down the corner too with something else happening. But I think we lost that in six games.
6 games.
That was in the conference finals, I believe.
Right. They went on to lose to Calgary in the final, right? Is that right? Is that about right?
I believe so. I think it could be. I'm not 100%, but yeah.
Right. Okay, so now it's off to Pittsburgh, along with Shel Samuelson and Rick Tocchet for Mark Recchi. We got some video now of you with the Penguins making some phenomenal saves. Vic, if you can roll that. How did that feel to move across the state here to the rival Penguins? I mean, these are 2 teams that obviously don't like each other at all.
Yeah, that's. I don't know. I don't know if it was me, but I didn't really realize the rivalry as much as they probably should have. In my mind, the rivalry was still like the North Division rivalry that I had when I first came to Toronto, type of thing, and those are rivalries. But the year before I came out there, we were playing. Was the year before or 2 years before? We went up against Pittsburgh in the finals, or not in the finals, in the second round type of thing, and we beat them out in 9. And then we went to play that Montreal game when I was with Philly. But when I got traded there with Shell and Talk, it was like jumping into an all-star dressing room. You got Mario, you got Yager, you got Stevens, you got Murphy, you got Ronnie Francis. It was insane. Craig Patrick was, he was up the helm there. Scotty Bowman was coaching at that point, and it was just insane. It was the team had just won the Stanley Cup, Pittsburgh, that is, the year before. And I remember we were about 5 games remaining in the season, and I think they're about 4 points out of playoff spots. I'm thinking, like, how can these guys be so relaxed? Like, it's, there's an opportunity of not even making playoffs. And that was the difference between having confidence and pressing the panic button from what I was told. So you really saw the different type of atmosphere, especially coming from Philadelphia, because that was with the Snyders and Bobby Clark. That was like you always had a finger right there on the button, ready to something to happen, to do something. And Pittsburgh seemed to be more relaxed, and they just kind of, and that was confidence. That was strictly confidence. And Mario, this, the confidence he instilled in all the guys here in Pittsburgh, and the talent he had surrounding him, it was just phenomenal. Tommy Brasso was a goaltender, and have the opportunity to play with him. One of the best goaltenders that isn't in the Hockey Hall of Fame, but maybe he should be in a lot of ways too. And it was for me. It was nice because in Pittsburgh it was give you a chance to work on your game and develop. And I felt like I could relax and do that. And I think I more so came into my own when I was here in Philadelphia, which I maybe didn't have the opportunity before to.
You mentioned Craig Patrick, and we actually have a clip from the Ken Wregget and Friends show where you had Craig Patrick on the show, and he talked about making that trade. Let's roll that, Vic.
It was a three-way deal. It was with Los Angeles, and we were trying to get good depth at goaltender, good depth at defense, and a power forward like Rick Tocchet. We needed another guy like that, and we gave up plenty to get it. But we're very thrilled with the results that we received from it. So we got exactly what we needed, and Kenny would have found his way here one way or another. So I know that he belongs in Pittsburgh. So he would have somebody would have gotten him here, whether it was me or somebody else. So it was.
What are you thinking, Ken? You feel like that's the case? Pittsburgh is definitely the home.
Well, that's where I live right now. Retired here. I love this community, the fans, my neighbors, and the kids were. My son was 4 months old when we moved here, and my daughter was born here, and it's home for me. And I love the size of the city and everything. So it's. I guess maybe Craig is right in a lot of ways, but it's guys like him that gave me the opportunity to really set down roots and to make this home and to feel welcome. So I can't thank the guys enough.
So you get to Pittsburgh and you finally get a chance to win the Stanley Cup. What was that like? I mean, you talked about how Lemieux was amazing and how he made everybody around him more confident and better players. Tell us about that '92 Penguins win.
Yeah, that was my first win. It was the team's second win in 2 years. I think I realized how important a coach was at that point. I know I mentioned some good coaches through my times with the Greenwood Bombers and Lethbridge, and growing up through the NHL. But to have the opportunity to work with Scotty Bowman to see, and I was just backup goalie. I think I played 40 minutes along the way. Through those playoffs, and to see how Scotty was working things, running things, was very unique in how he managed the players. To see how at that level, this NHL level, and how the guys prepare for games, and how much to the finest detail the little things matter. Like even if you're the backup goalie, and that was me that year, and when I played years in backup goalie, but you realize how much you have to help the guys. You have to be there as emotional support, stay out in the ice, and make sure they're ready to play and they're firing. And you got to make sure you're ready too, because the last thing you want to do is get thrown into a situation or a game and you're not prepared to play. So there's just so much to it, and so much that goes through the ranks and the depth of the team to make a team successful on the big level. It was interesting to see. Like, when I was younger, I was primarily playing all those big games, so I had a different aspect to sit back and look at it and not be in those roles and how important those roles are. But it was just tremendous. And like I said, the guys, Mario and Ronnie and Talk and those guys, they just amazing leaders, and bring everybody, like everybody was just working with each other. And, Alfie Samuelson, the way they go about things is been a lot of fun watching it.
Oh, Alfie had a few enemies. No doubt about that. We got an interview he did with Mike Lang, the legendary Penguins broadcaster back in 1993. You're talking about your play as a 10-year veteran, and then he asked you about your date with the Cup. Let's have a listen to that.
I think I've been getting better, with the age maturing as far as my style and play goes. I think it's a little easier when you play a little more to get really comfortable. I don't feel like I've really hit that this year, other than when I did play a number of games. But I think over the years, there's been a lot of inconsistency, and it's probably kept me from perhaps jumping into a number one spot.
I got a question for you about the Stanley Cup. Of course, you won it last year, took it home. Tell us a little story about what it did at your farm, and I know you enjoy farming in that.
Yeah, well, fortunately the Cup was in Toronto for most of the summer at the exhibition grounds, and I was able to get it for a weekend. So what we did is we brought it up. This year's actually a picture on the in-laws farm, and we wanted to get a picture with our bull that we bought last year. but we couldn't get them up and over to us. So there's actually some oats in there for the cow to come over and start mowing on. And this one here, this bull or this cow in particular, won some trophies at the Royal Winter Fair in Toronto. And it was a good picture, and we thought we'd just spread it around a bit. And luckily, it didn't damage the cup. No.
Okay, sounds like a great cow. I mean, I've heard, that's the first. I've seen a lot of things, or heard about a lot of things happening with the cup, but that's a first.
Crazy, isn't it? I got a nice picture of my son too. He's 4 months old, and he's just sitting in the cup, leaning over the edge in his diaper. But when you get the cup like that, you really do take advantage of it and remember those moments. I think with winning the cup, the biggest thing for me was when my brother, he and his wife got a job or moved out to Mississauga, and his niece, my niece, his daughter Paige, they had a field trip to the Hockey Hall of Fame, and they had the cup in the Hall of Fame, and she was pointing at the Wregget name, and that's when I realized how much winning the cup really means. When it comes out of the family, so it was kind of cool.
Yeah, Uncle Ken won that. Yeah. So, and you seem to get better as time went along. I mean, in 1994-95, you led the league in wins with 25. Your record was 25-92, a 3.21 goals against average, in a time when offense was greater. Goaltending equipment was a little smaller. You had a 903 save percentage, and we got a video of you facing Joe Nieuwendyk of the Flames. It's a penalty shot. Here you go. Nieuwendyk.
1-on-1. Moves into the Penguins in against Wregget. Put the backhand around. He missed it, and Wregget.
He thought he had one there, moved to the backhand. Robbed by Ken Wregget. What was it like facing penalty shots? Tell me, what was that like?
Yeah, I don't think I would have did well with all these shootouts that they have nowadays after the tie games, because they're kind of nerve-wracking. But I mean, I had the opportunity. I got to throw this one out there too. Back in, I'm not sure what year it was, we went up against Washington in the playoffs.
Okay, we got it. We're going to show that right now. Here we go. Let's talk. Tell us about this one. All right, Joe Juno.
This is good. Yeah, watch a puck bounce. See it bounce there?
Yeah.
So I'm not sure. This is the second overtime, and it was a heck of a game. Tommy Brasso started that game, and he had a back injury and came out after the first period. So I played the second period, and then the first shot on me was a goal. That was about 8 minutes in the second period, and the team just started playing better. And had we lost that game, I think we're down 3-1 in the series.
That's right.
If we're one, we're tied. So. The Joey Juno, the puck, I think the net got knocked off, not by me, by Chris Samer, and the referee called a penalty shot, which was apparently the first penalty shot in the history of the NHL, which is kind of unique.
In overtime, yeah.
But anyway, so we're all nervous. Like, the puck goes in, the game's over, and like I said, we're down 3-1, and it doesn't look good for us. So I always made a little figure eight in the crease between whistles. So as I was doing that, I was noticing how much snow there was. So I thought, you know what? I'm just going to leave this snow here.
Yeah.
And I'm going to play out a little higher. So when Joe Juno, when he gets the puck and starts coming down, it's the old adage that if you're teaching goaltender, if you're a goaltender, if you're deep in the net, they're going to shoot, right? So if the ice is really bad, you're better off shooting. So if you come out, there's a better chance the guy's going to deke. So I wanted to play high, so to force him into deke around me, and hopefully the ice would play a factor. And that was kind of the mindset I had. But that, as a goaltender, that's not the mindset you have. Your mindset is you play your game and you let them make the first move. So anyway, so Joey starts the penalty shot, grabs the puck, comes over the blue line, and if you look on that clip, it bounces up probably 6 inches or 4 to 6 inches, and he only had enough just to shovel it into me at that point. And I didn't do what I said I was going to do. I didn't play high. I was kind of back in the net, just just trying to take net away, and he just barely got it off of me. Put her in the bed by us. That was it.
You talk about, you talked earlier about how luck being a big factor. I mean, Joey Juneau had jets, man. I mean, the guy could fly, and he was coming in fast. And I think he wanted to use that as part of the intimidation. But wow, that was pretty awesome. So let's talk about life after hockey. Has been good for Ken Wregget?
It has been good. I retired in 2001. Came back to Pittsburgh. I found myself in kind of a dark place. I ended up getting divorced and had a heart attack, and just wasn't really taking the best care of myself. And I had a good person, Nicole, who I'm with now, and she kind of got me back up and on my feet. We have a bar together right now. We live together, and we're just learning to live and love again. And it's been great. The bar through COVID has been a challenge because I got hockey as a background. She's a school teacher, and there's a picture there. And it's been nice. We have a nice little deck out back. I think about 3,600 square feet. It's funny because some people I do talk to, they said, you always wanted to own a bar. And I said, I don't remember saying that, but I guess they were right because I know I tried to buy one once before. But we've had great support with the local community. We do a lot of charity work for the community, trying to more or less give back from them supporting us. And next week we're having a little alumni function down there. And I always wanted to say to anybody down in Toronto that comes through to a Penguin game, and I was at the last two Penguin games versus the Leafs, and we lost them both. So I don't have the best Pittsburgh record with the Toronto Maple Leafs, but please stop by if you're down. It's right along 70, just off of 79 in the Bridgeville.
Well, you know what, Ken, for sure. I mean, I'm not much of a drinker. I'm not a drinker, but tell me, how's the food? How's the food?
The food is fabulous. And let me tell you, we won the Southwest Chamber of Commerce Best in our category for restaurant and catering for 2022. So we're very, very happy with that. The bar prior to COVID, we went non-smoking. It was kind of like an entertainment venue of sorts. We went non-smoking, or was smoking. We went non-smoking, and our food sales were in the 12 to 17% range. We increased that to about 30 to 40%, and we're just making another transition over now. We're putting the smoker out in the front.
I'm definitely when next time I'm in the Penguins area, in the Pittsburgh area, I will give you. I'll head down to Bridgeville. Looks like you got some great live entertainment and everything else going on there. It looks like a fabulous place. 31 Bar and Grill. Be there or be square. Definitely be there next time. And by the way, Ken, I've got a golf game for you next time you're in the Toronto area. So definitely we'll hook you up for that for sure. Thank you for coming on the show today.
Joe, great reconnecting with you, and I appreciate it. I just want to say hi to everybody out in Toronto there. Miss you guys.
Yeah, miss you too, buddy. All right. Thank you so much. More sports when we come back.
More Joe Tilley's Great Canadian Sports Show coming up after the break.
Sports
Guests on Joe Tilley Sports receive a gift certificate from Classica Imports. Top of the line imported men's clothing. Check out the Classica Essential Collection now. Go to shopclassica.com. Addiction Rehab Toronto, Toronto's #1 alcohol and drug treatment center, saving lives, reuniting families. The only treatment center in the province to offer medical detox, treatment, sober living, and lifetime aftercare all in one place. Our unique and specialized programs are designed to equip our clients with the tools to successfully lead a life of dignity, respect, and purpose. Let us help save your life or your loved one's life. Call today for more information or to facilitate an intervention. 1-855-787-2424 or visit addictionrehabtoronto.ca. Joe Tilley Sports is brought to you by COSA, Central Ontario Standardbred Association, providing a united voice for harness horse people racing at Ontario tracks. Check out your benefits today at COSAonline.com and check out COSA TV on Facebook and YouTube for all the latest harness news and live action updates. Live racing, year-round. Go to hpibet.com for all your wagering options. Become a member today, and your first bet is free. That's hpibet.com.
Do you know why that happened? You didn't fix your ball mark. The birds around here are very protective of the course, and when people don't take care of it, this is what happens. It's pretty simple. Just find your mark, fix it, and at least one other. Hey, look at the bright side. We're not up on the northern course. They've got bears and moose. Visit moregolf.ca today. You'll find everything a golfer could need, from balls, gloves, and clubs to custom fitting opportunities and training gear. Go to moregolf.ca and get $20 off your first purchase of $100 or more. Just enter the promo code JT Sports. All right, Mike Kosa, Swiss pick of the week. Last time I took Don't Poke the Bear in Thursday night's fifth race at Mohawk. Sylvain Filion driving for Ken Middleton. He had some traffic issues heading into the final turn. 33-1 shot, betting on the beach with Loic Gorel, took the lead and held on for the victory. Pat Hudon trains a $183 exacta. I had it. Just missed that try, but it was a very productive week. This week, I'm going to Thursday night's card at Mohawk, race number 6. I like Matt's MVP with James McDonald in the sulky. Let's take the 148 exacta and trifecta box. Stallion registration for the Ontario Sire Stakes program for the 2023 breeding year is now open. The deadline for registration is January 16th. For all the racing updates, visit Costa TV on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Go to hpibet.com for your wagering options.
This is the Excellent Sports Adventure, brought to you by Lycom.
Well, it was the most productive month in franchise history, thanks in large part to the work of one Mitch Marner. Yes, indeed. Leafs opened December against the rival Lightning in Tampa. No score, Bud shorthanded. Marner's first chance stop, but David Kampf gets it back, sets up Mitch. Bingo! His 9th goal as Double M runs his point streak to 19 games. That's a new club record. Marner added another. The Bolts won in overtime, but the Leafs have points in 11 straight games, and Mitch has himself an impressive record.
I mean, it's cool. Like I was saying to you guys earlier this week, man. I grew up in this city. I love being a part of this team nowadays. It's special to me. It's special growing up to watch this team play hockey, and now to have my name in something pretty amazing. It's it's hard to describe, but like I've been saying to you guys, man, it's not a one-man effort up there. It's 5-man. That was a great effort by Dave there on that first one there, and just trying to go out there and help this team win games. And unfortunately, we weren't able to do it tonight, but a lot of love to my guys for helping me out achieve this accomplishment.
It's been a busy stretch for the Raptors, and it has not been great. They did manage to get some bodies back, and they did manage to put a beat down on a pretty lousy Magic club. Scotty Barnes with the offensive rebound spots. OG Anunoby inside for the flush. Second half, Fred Van Vliet over to Pascal Siakam for 3 of his 26. Raps pulling away. Back to Anunoby with the steal. Takes it all the way to the rack. A season-high 32 for OG. Raps rocked the Magic 121-108, but a third quarter collapse against the Celtics dropped the Raps back to 500. Well, how's that for starters? The Toronto Rock opened the NLL season at home to Vancouver. Corey Small was large in his Rock debut. Small scored 3 times to pace the home side out to a huge lead. Mitch DeSnew, defending Defensive Player of the Year, also had a hat trick, including this highlight reel beauty. Tom Schreiber also had 3 goals. Schreiber with an 8-point night as the Rock blast the Warriors 19-8. Another meet. Another record for Canada's Summer McIntosh. The 16-year-old from Toronto blew the field away in the women's 400-meter individual medley at the U.S. Open swimming event. Her time of 4 minutes, 28.61 seconds, a new Canadian and world junior record. She also won this event at the World Championships this past summer. Now it's time for our shot of the week.
God damn it.
4! Tilley on the very challenging par 3 6th hole here at El Tigre. She is on the green. She'll be putting for birdie. Today's environmental tip: keep your drinks in reusable containers. Instead of buying individually packaged drinks, consider buying a bulk container for your favorite beverage. And buy a reusable bottle. Not only will this help the environment, but it will also help you save money. Rycom, passionate people who turn complicated business problems into simplified technology solutions for public and private sector real estate, properties, portfolios, and enterprise customers. Optimize and future-proof smart buildings from the ground up. The latest in fault locating, base building network design, managed services, cybersecurity, data analytics. Our fault detection will support all smart strategies, define projected outcomes for capital planning, and reduce environmental impact. Rycom, smart protection solutions. At Rycom, we're building a path to a smart and environmentally friendly future.
And we want to thank all the folks who make this show possible. These are friends, trusted business associates, and all-around great folks. We highly recommend them all. Thank you for your support of Canadian and local sports. A reminder that this show is available on iTunes, Spotify, Breaker, Radio Public, Google Podcasts, and Pocket Cast, as well as the Spanglish Network and Zingo TV and Buzz TV Live. Also, you really want to check out our YouTube channel. There are past shows available, a weekly sportscast, all kinds of cool segments. Like and subscribe. It's free. Thanks once again to Ken Wregget for being on the program. Thank you for watching. And join us next week when we talk about some amazing hockey moms. We'll see you then.
Joe Tilley's Great Canadian Sports Show is brought to you by Brian Gribben Insurance Planning, helping you solidify your financial future.
At BGIP, what we do that's unique in the marketplace is we show people how to spend and enjoy their money in the early years of retirement without the fear of running out. Also, we're able to do this without you having to change financial advisors. Please look us up at bgip.ca today. Let's book a 30-minute phone call to see how we can bring value to you and your family in your planning.
Call Brian today for all your retirement needs. We did. 905-686-5678. Do you want to buy or sell a home? Could 31 years of real estate experience help you? Why not speak to an amazing team that loves to overpromise and overdeliver? Aldo has a tremendous team of experts on staff. They are committed to making your next real estate transaction smooth and comfortable. Call 416-GET-ALDO or visit getaldo.com. MNP, a leading Canadian national accounting, tax, and business accounting firm. MNP proudly serves and responds to the need of their clients in the private, public, and nonprofit sectors. Through partner-led engagements, MNP provides a collaborative, cost-effective approach to do business and personal strategies to help people and organizations to succeed across the country and around the world. With local offices in Oshawa, Mississauga, Burlington, and more, their team is here to support you. Visit mnp.ca today to learn more.